Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radhe. Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Vrindavan Dham. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna. So before going into reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, we'll read from Srila Prabhupada Lila Mrita, Prabhupada your ever well-wisher, by Satswarup Maharaj. So this is chapter entitled Uniting Two Worlds, and this is in Detroit, August 2nd of August 1975. Alfred Ford, the great-grandson of Henry Ford, had become attracted to Krishna consciousness through meeting some of Srila Prabhupada's disciples in Detroit and through reading Bhagavad Gita as it is. He had adopted the principles of Krishna consciousness, begun regularly chanting 16 rounds, and was now Srila Prabhupada's initiated disciple, Ambarish. Today, Ambarish was at the airport behind the wheel of a white Lincoln Continental limousine, waiting to meet Srila Prabhupada. On seeing Srila Prabhupada approach, Ambarish got out of the driver's seat and offered obeisances. He opened the back door of the limousine for Srila Prabhupada, shut it and returned to his seat, just like a menial chauffeur. We devotees also have a car, said Prabhupada as they drove away. But we are going to the temple and distributing books with it. Anything can be used for Krishna. Here is a rich man's son, Alfred Ford. We are giving him a little spiritual teaching and he is happy. Another of Srila Prabhupada's Detroit disciples was Elizabeth Ruther, now Lekha Shravanti Devidasi, the daughter of labor leader Walter Ruther. Ambarish told Prabhupada that the Fords and the Ruthers had been enemies, but now two of their descendants were peacefully working together in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada was pleased with the humility of these two disciples, and while he gave them some special status, he did not dwell on the fact that they were from such famous families. Ambarisha and Lekha Shravanti saw themselves as humble servants of the Vaishnavas. On the way to the temple, Prabhupada's car passed a large modern building displaying flags of many nations and a large sign, World Headquarters, Ford. One of the devotees turned to Ambarish and asked, "Is this where you work?" From the back seat, Prabhupada spoke up. "No, he's the proprietor." As they passed by a big urban development project, Prabhupada asked, "What is this?" "This is known as Detroit's Renaissance Center," said Ambarisha. "They will never have a renaissance," Prabhupada replied. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैता चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैता चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे So we continue our study of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19. The Lord instructs Srila Rupa Goswami. Today's verses is from 207, but it is 210 which is a purport. So we'll do 207 to 9. I will read it myself, and 210 I will request for your cooperation, please. So 207 to 9. Sachemena tadatmanam varishtam sarvayoshitam hitva gopi kamayana mamaso bhajate priyam tato gatva vanodelam dripta kevalam abravit न पारये अहम चलितं नया माम यत्र ते मन एवमुक्त प्रियामाह स्कंदमारु आरुयतामिति ततल चांतर्दधे कृष्ण सावधूर अन्वैतप्यत. Translation. My dear most Krishna, you are worshipping me and giving up the company of all the other gopis who wanted to enjoy themselves with you. Thinking like this, Srimati Radharani considered herself Krishna's most beloved gopi. She had become proud and had left the Rasa Leela with Krishna. In the deep forest, she said, "My dear Krishna, I cannot walk anymore. You can take me wherever you like." When Srimati Radharani petitioned Krishna in this way, Krishna said, "Just get up on my shoulders." As soon as Srimati Radharani began to do so, he disappeared. Srimati Radharani then began to grieve over her request and Krishna's disappearance. Purport. These three verses are quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:30, 36 to 38. Text 210. Pratisutaanvayam Bhratarbaandhavan Ativilangyatenti Achyutagata. Kindly respond, please. This is Gatividastavo Gita Mohita kitavayoshita kastyajenishi. Patisutanvaya bhratarbaandhavan ativilangyateenti achyutagata. Gatividastavo gitamohita kitavayoshita kastyajenishi. Please chant. Patisutanvaya bhratarbaandhavan ativilangyateenti achyutagata. Gatividastavo gitamohita kitavayoshita kastyajenishi. Patisutanvaya bhratarbaandhavan ativilangyateenti achyutagata. Gatividastavo gitamohita kitavayoshita kastyajenishi. Patisutanvaya bhratarbaandhavan ativilangyateenti achyutagata. Gatividastavo gitamohita kitavayoshita kastyajenishi. Vaishnavis. पतिसुतान्वया भ्रातर्बान्धवान् अतिविलङ्घ्यतेन्ति अच्युतागता गतिविदस्तवो गीतमोहिता कितवयोषिता कस्त्यजेन्निशि अच्युतागता पतिसुतान्वया भ्रातर्बान्धवान् अतिविलङ्घ्यतेन्तिम् अच्युतागता गतिविदस्तवो गीतमोहिता कितवयोषिता कस्त्यजेन्निशि पति पतिसुतान्वया भ्रातर्बान्धवान् अतिविलङ्घ्यतेन्ति अच्युतागता गतिविदस्तवो गीतमोहिता कितवयोषिता कस्त्यजेन्निशि पति husbands Suta sons Anvaya family Bhratar brothers Bandhavan friends Ati Vilangya without caring for Te your Anti dear dear shelter Achyuta O infallible one Agata have come Gativida who know everything of your activities Tava of you Udgita by the singing flute Mohita being attracted Titava O great cheater Yoshita beautiful woman Ka who Tyajet would give up Nishi in the dead of night. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki. Dear Krishna, Dear Krishna, we gopis have neglected the order of our husbands, sons, family, brothers, and friends, and have left their company to come to you. You know everything about our desires. We have come only because we are attracted by the supreme music of your flute. But you are a great cheater. For who else would give up the company of young girls like us in the dead of night? Purport. This verse, quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-16, describes how the gopis went to the forest for Krishna's enjoyment in the dead of night. The gopis approached Krishna to enjoy themselves with him in the rasa dance. Krishna knew this very well, but he was superficially trying to avoid them. He is therefore addressed by the gopis as Kitava, a great cheater, because he first attracted them to come dance with him, and yet when they actually came, neglecting the orders of their friends and relatives, he tried to avoid them by giving them so called good instructions. These cunning instructions were too much for the gopis to tolerate. They therefore had a right to address Krishna as Kitava, a great cheater. They were all young girls and they had come to him to be enjoyed. How could he avoid them? The gopis therefore expressed great disappointment in this verse. They came voluntarily, but Krishna was so cunning that he wanted to avoid their company. The gopis' lamentation was certainly very appropriate, and in this way, Krishna tested their sincerity. वैराग्य विद्या निज भक्ति योगा शिक्षार्थमेक पुरुष पुराणाम श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य शरीर धारी कृपाम्बुदीर्य तमहं प्रपद्ये मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणम् वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Warm welcome everyone. Kindly bless us so that we can study Chaitanya Charitamrita in the proper spirit. And please bless me so that I become the first recipient of what we discuss. So today's text, because you lovely devotees have come all the way from London, so we have got this text specially arranged for you. Surrender is the surrender is the beginning of Krishna consciousness. Krishna says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma sucha. Surrender we see practicing Krishna consciousness, every sadhaka would realize surrender is the bare minimum. It's the bare minimum. It is the beginning in the practice of Krishna consciousness. And surrender is like not job done. No. Surrender is not like surrendering on weekends or certain days. Surrender is momentary, every moment. Now, this is Chaitanya Charitamrita, the hides the epitome of love altogether. If someone wants to study love, understand love, one should study the life and teachings of Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this particular shloka, the epitome of love, or what is love, what does it mean, what does love mean? See, Krishna and love as well is the most described phenomenon, the most described personality in this whole universe, yet the least understood. Someone the most described, most talked about, yet hardly understood, the least understood. We try to understand Krishna consciousness, Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially this verse, what our acharyas have given us in that light. Our bhakti is we are in the parampara of Mahaprabhu, right? Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And our bhakti is Anugatya Bhav, in followership. Hmm. So, following in the footsteps of Brajvasis, we try to understand Krishna consciousness. See, there are two things we know, Tattva and Bhav. Hmm. Tattva is very important. The main place, right? Krishna says, Bhagavad Gita, Manusya Nam Sarasrechu Kaschit Yatadi Siddhaya Yatatam Api Siddhanam Kaschin Mam Veti Tattvata. So, knowing Krishna Tattvata, Tattva and Bhav. But we are not after Tattva, as in we do not worship, or our real thing is not for Tattva. We are after Bhav, that Bhav. And in order to understand Bhav, Tattva is fundamental. It is utmost. It's fundamental. Something indispensable, say. And this is Prema Rajya, right? This is Prema Rajya, the Gopi Geet specially, the Prem Rasa. And in order to have an entrance into Krishna Prema or Prem Rajya, the bhav has to come about, the proper bhav, the proper mood. Until and unless tattva is pushed, no bhav will come. Until and unless bhav is pushed, no entrance into rasa. Krishna, he is the king of all rasa, right? Raso Vaisa. He is the source, he is the king of all rasas. And Shrimati Radharani, she is the queen of all bhav. Mahabhav and further on, she is the queen of all bhav. So we need to understand in the proper mood, in the proper light, in order to gain any entrance into it. And we are a bhav upasak. Like Ras is the worshipper, Prem or Ras is the worshipper, and it is the bhav is the, say, the paraphernalia required or used to worship rasa. Like we pray Tulasi Arti, right? And Arti, so we do use paraphernalia. So ours is what? Japa is what? It is with bhav. It is with bhav. And Mahaprabhu wants us to develop this bhav. And Ras Prem is worshipped. Prem is worshipped. The Rasa is worshipped, but with proper bhav. So now in here, this particular text, this is the bhav, the mood of the gopis. This is the bhav and the mood of the gopis altogether. Shishi Khorantai Mayapur Sashi ki jai. Never ever a sadhaka should venture out and think that this has become my bhav or this is my bhav. No. Never ever. Ours bhav is like in Anugatya bhav. Braja Bhakti is done only in Anugatya Bhav. Not just like in Anugatya Bhav, only in Anugatya Bhav. So, what does Gopi Bhav mean? Gopi Bhav means understanding the Bhav, the mood, the pain, the love, the surrender the gopis possess for Krishna. That is Gopi Bhav. How much can I appreciate? How much can I feel the pain? How much can I experience the pain? How much am I pained by their pain? That has to be seen, and that is our role. That is our Swarup, or that is our identity. How much can I feel that their pain? The stages or levels of purification. One, we understand, okay, following the four regulative principles, it keeps us purified and all, and utmost essential. Then further advancement of purification is what? Glorification. It is a kind heart, a gentle, pure heart who can glorify. Another higher level of purification is what? Glorification of the lordships. Furthermore, When we glorify the Vaishnavas, Krishna becomes even further pleased when we glorify the Vaishnavas. Glorification of the Brajvasis. Hmm. Gopi Bhav is what? Glorification of the Bhav of the Gopis. That until and unless we always should protect ourselves with this. This should become our complete kavacha, complete protection, and this should become our complete. It should not just resonate with in our consciousness. This should be our consciousness proper. Then only we can move any forward in bhakti. Then only Krishna can accept us. To share an example, like sports, everyone in this world is enamored by sports by and large. Especially, we see many countries in Europe, football is very popular, very popular. Now, some of the girls they may not be into football. Some of the boys as well could be that they are not into footballs, but still, it is hard to abstain or stay away from what's going on in the sport of football. Say. This we are trying to understand the mood, the attitude, the bhav to perform bhakti. Bhakti is done actually something in vicarious bhav or vicarious nature, developing or adopting or building this vicarious nature. What is this vicarious nature? So, in that example, say of football, now take this and that a World Cup game is on, or World Cup is going on and about to, the final is about to start in World Cup football. And who's playing? Say England versus Argentina. Hmm? England versus say Argentina. No. Let's go with say England versus Argentina in the World Cup in the final and where? Wembley Stadium in London. Now Wembley would have capacity of what? 5,000? 50,000. Haribol. So a capacity of 50,000 Wembley Stadium. Huh? And World Cup game, of course, it has to be on a Sunday. And it has to be a bank holiday. And everyone now see those who are not at all into football, they cannot shy away. They cannot abstain. You go in Sainsbury's supermarket, Marks and Spencer's, wherever, that football buzz will be there. You go to work, go to train, tube, wherever, the buzz of football will be there. Okay, what's been happening, the lead up to the final, the lead up to the final, the playing 11, who's playing and all. And now see, on the day, very day of football, no one would be working. No one would be working. Pubs will be full, houses will be full and all, and everyone will be glued to their television. So much so, they may not be interested in football, but that day, people would make it a special effort to watch. So much so, now look, see, any other day, we may want to play football for ourselves, is it not? Any other day, those who are playing league matches and all, the clubs, they would support, okay, it's a Sunday, it's a game, league match, we go and play football. Huh? But that particular day, there won't be any English Premier League match happening, no league matches happening. Everyone watch football. So, why? England and Argentina, two of the top best teams playing in the one of the best world's games, say football and the final. Hmm. Now, in that playing of football of game happening, what would be generally our mood like? That either we may want to go to a pub or some friend's house or in our house, gather together, watch together, or may go to Wembley Stadium and see the game may start say 6 p.m. start or 4 p.m. start, but commentary and it goes live like say 4 hours before, right? And now going into the details. Okay, both the teams they are residing in these their hotels, and this is what say Harry Kane is having for breakfast. He had for breakfast so much so. Um, and Messi, this is his final game and all. He's going to have this for breakfast. The coaches are coming. The bus is ready, and we want to make sure that the bus, the tire does not go flat. Everything stays fine. Yeah. The bus, that petrol is there, driver is not late, there's no diversion, there is no road blockages, no demonstration, no protest, nothing. Why? We want the game to come about. We want the game to come about. Every fan, like, they would want, okay, if a waiter is on leave, that the emergency leave, he had to take leave, hire me as the waiter. Hmm. The person could be somewhere, he could be the CEO of some company, but he would want to become the waiter on that day so that he makes sure that the teams are being fed properly and they are on their way. Now, coming to close to the football stadium, they have all assembled and all. What we would want, okay, it's a night game, evening game, the lights are turned on, the lights stay good. Everything, the pitch should be fine, security, no problem. No one would want to make any hassle. If someone makes any hassle, oh, quiet, let the game go on. And in that game as well, watching in the homes, we tend to do commentaries and all. But at that time, okay, quiet, see what the commentator has to say. At that time, we easily, happily, willingly give up our any self obsession we have for football. Any self obsession. We might be a very good league player, we might know so many things and all, but at that moment, we just want to see Messi and Harry Kane play. Say, two of the best football players. We just want to absorb them play. We want to get lost in their play altogether, and we want to see the nitty gritty, the details, and everything around it. At that moment, if someone tells us, like, oh, you are a very good league player, you play for Watford, which is maybe a bit down the league and all, but we are not interested. Hmm? We are not interested. At that time, we lose any self obsession. What is the biggest blockage for us in advancement? In advancement in Krishna consciousness, self obsession. It's a big, 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 big blockage. Self obsession. So much so that it may lead us towards like Sayujya Mukti. It must tempt us. It can tempt us. It can lead us towards like say liberation, wanting liberation, or thinking I'm God. Thinking to be God is another form of self obsession. Very gross, very deep, concentrated self obsession. And here in this prayer, gopis, they are not at all self obsessed. They are not at all self obsessed. They are Krishna obsessed altogether. Whatever they do, they are for the joy of Krishna. Whatever, completely Krishna obsessed. So, in the game of football, when we see the world class players come and play, the top players come and play, we are happy, easy, willingly ourselves want to give any of the self obsession I'm holding, and I want to give it up because I want to watch them play and all the details and recount the stories 4 years back, final, 8 years back, final, like that. So that sort of vicarious mode. Our enjoyment is in not in direct participation. Just like a football lover, he would want to make sure the two teams come together. There's nothing obstruction going on in the game. Yeah. Likewise, Vrinda Devi, हाँ, कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदायिनी श्रीमती वृंदा देवी, ए निवेदन धरो सखीर अनुगत करो. हाँ, सखीर अनुगत करो. Not this is the request that okay, put me kind of ahead or on top of someone. That is not our promotion. That is not at all the promotion. Sakhir anugata karo and seva adhikar diye karo niche dasi. Seva adhikar diye. So ours is in anugatya bhav. All now take that again, that example of football. One would want to, one who is a true football lover, one who is a genuine true football lover, he would want to come in anugatya bhav. Okay, the stadium needs cleaning. Yes. What do you want? I'll clean the stadiums. I will clean the stands and all. He would want to come in anugatya bhav to make sure that the game goes very nice. Likewise, if we are performing loving devotional service, we want to advance in Krishna bhakti, then this anugatya bhav, we have to take it. We have to take this on board fully. And who is our master? Who is our leader? Say, spiritual master. He's the leader. He's the master. Shiradhika madhavyur para madhurya lila gunrupa namnam pratikshana swadan lolopasya vande guru shri charnaravindam. Pratikshana swadan lolopasya. Every moment, who is relishing? Who is
Who is seeing that? Who is that making that happen? So our entrance is through the mercy of spiritual master. Nikunja yono rati ke li siddhe. So who is engaged in this uh, confidential pastimes? So until and unless we take this anugatya bhav, we cannot appreciate. So gopi bhav is not like okay, mugging up say or trying to put ourselves in the forward. Ours is das das anudas. So until and unless we develop this sort of mood attitude, the tattvas will stay away from us. Krishna's energy won't let us come reveal Krishna to us. And until and unless we understand the Siddhant, the Tattva, there won't be any bhav, no proper bhav. And no proper bhav, how can we kind of find our role, our engagement, eternal engagement in the eternal pastimes of the Divine Lordship? So, with this understanding, we can pray, we can cry. ah, we can cry. And this cry means physical cry, literal physical cry. There has to be a literal physical cry. Okay, I will try to quickly summarize and open for any questions, answers. So, yeah, this is the Gopi Geet and the gopis asking for, say, pure association of Krishna. Maybe, okay, on this note, I will take a pause. Any questions, comments? Hare Krishna.
Haribol Prabhu, thank you for the class. Um, I, you gave the example of football and the material world, so I can resonate with that. You also spoke about the vicarious learning, how we learn from other people. Um, we we learn, from other people by observing them and by actually, being with them or having their association. But how can we resonate with the bhava of the gopis? Because although they are, described, there are not many people who have gopi bhav. So how do we resonate with what they feel, and how can we kind of feel what they feel, that feeling of separation?
Thank you. Very nice question. And see, for a practicing sadhakana, time is the biggest obstruction. And I'm actually looking into the time. So kindly apologize me, forgive me. Sorry, I beg for apologies if I go beyond the time, beyond the scheduled time. Say, thank you. Very encouraging. Nectar of instruction has all the answers to all the questions. Say, in beautiful instruction. Tannama rupa charitadisu. तन्नामरूपचरितादिकीर्तनानु स्मृत्यो तिष्ठन् व्रजेतदनुरागिजनानुगामी कालं नयेतखिलमित्युपदेशसारम्. So, Tishtan Braje Tad Anuragi Jananugami. So, those who are in that Anurag, in that Braja Bhakti, in that Braja mood, checking them when we follow them. Devotee association means what? Following a devotee, following the lead of a devotee. Furthermore, devotee association means what? Devotee attachment. There cannot be real association without attachment. Hmm. That building that attachment, building that atmiyata, that preeti, that bonding, uh, that is a must, that is a required. See, it is not a sufficient enough motivation that I am not this material body. It's not a sufficient, and it's more of a negative motivation. Negative motivation, many times it helps us a lot. It helps us a lot. Why? Because we are negative people. Because we are conditioned souls. Na? So do not forget Krishna. Do not forget Krishna. Hmm? But we cannot. So our mood is, why do we want to practice bhakti? Not because we want to get rid of birth, death, old age, and disease. No. That's like, okay, material world full of miseries, threefold miseries, this, that, and all. So that's a negative motivation. Okay, it's good. It helps us. It pushes us. But it is only when we follow in devotees, then that devotional attachment will rub off onto us. That will rub off onto us. And attachment, devotee association again means what? Devotee attachment, devotee preeti, devotee, that building that association. Otherwise, how could Yogmaya potentially get us into that eternal pastimes? Huh? When Yogmaya sees, okay, there is someone who is developing that mood, who is developing that bhav, and who is actually performing, then we get more into the trust factor. Trust factor. Uh, and when we see, when we associate with devotees, the most powerful weapon of a devotee is what? Is his speech. Tremendous. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete Koriyakya. Arana Koryo Mane Asha. Even though in my minds and hearts I could be carrying some desires, but when I listen to the sound vibration and when I listen from realized souls, then they are carrying that mood, they are carrying that pain, they are carrying that bhav, hmm, and that will come about on us as well. It is a very individual say responsibility, individual's prerogative, how I conduct and how much hunger say. At one point it goes very say, personal also in a way. How much hunger that I am developing. Hmm? Am I really very sure that I want to attain Golok Vrindavan? Am I really very sure? The day I become sure, then there's nothing stopping, nothing like coming in the way. Adoksha Prabhu, you are saying?
What he's asking is answered in. There's a book by Shiv Ramraj. Well, actually, it's by Raghunath Das Goswami, and it's the sadhana for a Madhyama to come to the stage of Raga Bhakti. And so we have Rupa Raghunath, and the bhav that we're being offered is Manjari bhav. That's our line. So that's there, whether we want to access it or not. Whatever our swarup was, it can be that has been offered to us. So Sri Ramaj is especially encouraging his disciples now to push forward from Vaidhi, which takes you to Vaikuntha, to Raga Bhakti, which takes you into Goloka, to become spontaneous and to develop that bhav. So we can associate with Raghunath Das, who's Rati Manjari, by reading Vilap Kusumanjali and also Rupa Goswami, the Nectar of Instruction. And then we can get the bhav. That's how we can associate with these devotees. They're very accessible through their writings, actually. And even though we can't physically, sometimes devotees were in the physical presence of Srila Prabhupada, and they didn't really take advantage. And some devotees, like Shiv Ramaj, he hardly got any association with Shiv Ramaj, but he took the Vani. So it's the Vani that's the really important thing. So if you take the instructions of these Manjaris, then you get the bhav.
Hare Krishna. Okay, maybe I won't continue for long. So, this is the mood of the gopis. Kitava Yoshita Kastya Jenishi. They know very well that Krishna, it is you who is playing the flute and calling each of our names by playing that flute. And now that we have come here, then why are you doing this to us? Why are you not reciprocating with us? Krishna, you yourself said, right? Ye yathamam prapadyante tam stateva bhajamyam. Now come on, match it up. Match it up. Then again Krishna says, na pariyam nirvadya samyajam. Na? So sadhu krityam vibhuda ayusha piva. So it is not like we have come on our own or for ourselves. No, you blew the flute calling out to each of us. So we have come here, and throughout these prayers, They are thinking of the joy of Krishna altogether. Not even a tinge, an iota of self obsession. Not even a tinge, an iota of self obsession. So, for us, advancement is how we take devotee association. Then the message and everything will come about. Otherwise, not like Krishna consciousness. Now, what is left? Everything is there. Books are there. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Chaitamrit, everything. The storehouse, the treasure of Krishna Prem, the love is there very much. Uh, it's just even we can possibly see the key as well, but we just don't know how to open that treasure. We may know who has got. First thing is what? To spot, say, okay, what does it mean, say Krishna Prem? And if I can spot where is that key, who has got that key for it, who can open it to us, who can give us that access. So spiritual master has got that key and can easily open it for us. The day I become a disciple. The day I become a disciple. So our bhakti is like directly proportional to, it is actually directly proportional to Krishna bhakti. Krishna bhakti is directly proportional to Guru bhakti, Guru Das, in that sense, or Guru Chela. It's even more better. That is even required. So the day I become like that, then yes. So the gopis attracted by the flute of Krishna. They're saying, okay, why are you keeping us bereft of this joy, of this love? See, this is Krishna Bhakti, and maybe I would take this opportunity. I'm seeing such young boys and Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis in front of them. Wouldn't want them to be spoiled as such like this. So take this warning, na? Be careful. You are young for now, very innocent, very sweet. But be careful next time coming to Karuna Bhavan. If your mom and dad tell you to come to Karuna Bhavan, say for a retreat. And be careful, don't spend much time with Panchatattva, Pe, Pinshan and others. Also, if your mom and dad take you to Vrindavan, be careful. You go into Vrindavan. See, otherwise, sports, football and all may not really fit into the society. And Chaitanya Chaitamrit doesn't want us to fit into the society. We just have to give our face in the society. Heart should belong to Mahaprabhu. Heart must belong to Mahaprabhu. Just face, okay, yes, we are functioning to keep the body and soul together. But heart is completely given to Mahaprabhu. And heart meaning what? Attachments, aspirations, desires, completely to Mahaprabhu. And this is a disclaimer or warning for anyone practicing Krishna consciousness. Rupa Goswami's teachings, right? Smeram Bhakti Pretaraya Parichitam Sachi Vishtinna Drishtim. So Krishna is three-banded. And so this warning that do not go to Kesi Ghat, on the banks of river Yamuna. Even if you go, do not try to see him. Okay, even if you have seen him, just run away. But do not never let him see you. That is cunning, that is cheating. Say, if he sees you once, you will be spoiled forever. So now it is up to us. How do we want to get spoiled? Everything is there. Depends how now, very much our individual sense, how much we would want to get spoiled and how, in what light. Okay. Thank you very much for your kind encouragement and participation. Shri Chaitanya Chaitamrita ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Gaur Premanandi.